Well, welcome to another edition of the Ultimate Wellness Group Transformation Tuesday on a Saturday. I know some of you are wondering why I keep saying that, because the plan is to go back to Tuesday on a regular basis. So we're going to keep it on Tuesday until we get this schedule together. So I appreciate you all for coming in today. On your Saturday, we got a wonderful show for you today. Why am I so hot? If you live in the southern states and even some of the western and northern states, it's getting to the time of the year where it's very hot, so we're going to discuss dehydration, heat exhaustion, heat stroke. And we got some good articles from the media this week, so we're going to have a short discussion on some of those. So without any delay, let's get right into it. So let's ask God to bring us to the right mind, into the state of mind where we can be open to learning, open for new information, and let's challenge ourselves to take that information and try to apply it to our lives so we may empower ourselves to be better than we were starting the day. I ask personally for my impediments to be removed and my ego and my arrogance to be removed so that I may be a vessel for your benefit. So let's get right into it. We're going to start with the mainstream minute for today. Got a couple of articles as I was researching this week. I thought there were some pretty interesting things in the mainstream news this week, which I think are a little relative to some of the things that I've said over the last few months and years. And I think sometimes people think about some of the things that I say as controversial, but I want to show how the media is proving that these things are issues that we need to deal with. So let's get into it, and then we'll come back to our subject matter. Okay, there's something I got to find real quick. What is this thing? Well, let's just go to the first article, and that is 5 things. Look at the headlines of this. 5 things people of color should know about taking care of their skin. So I've mentioned to you all before that there's some people that actually talk to me about, they hit me up either privately or they'll message me and say, well, why are you talking about race so much when you talk about medicine? Well, it's a reality of life. There are differences. Here it is in this article. It says some skin issues affect people of color more frequently. They're talking about pigmentation problems. Next part of the article is what? You still need to wear sunscreen, which I believe is a lie, but they're talking about the difference in light or pale skin versus dark skin. Different types of hair loss affect women of color more frequently, especially black women. What are those hair care products doing to your hair, and what is pulling and tension on your hair? What does it do? Because a lot of the hairstyles that black women wear do have some tension to it. You may feel more comfortable seeing dermatologists who look like you. What? You mean there's an article that actually talks about people may be more comfortable if they're at a doctor that looks like them and comes from the same background like them? Yeah, these are studies that have been proven. It's been proven, many studies where white doctors see white patients, Asian doctors see Asian patients, Mexican doctors see Mexican patients, black doctors see black patients. It's not something Dr. Akili made up. That's a reality of life. Unfortunately, there are some gaps in our understanding of skin color. So going back to a lot of times in medicine, we don't have any answers. We haven't proven anything. We just follow along with other people who do, and if they make a lot of money doing it, then of course we automatically think, oh, that's a good idea. Eric Evans, thank you for coming in. You say exactly. I guess you're agreeing with something that I said. Yes. So let's go on to the next one. Something else I've discussed. Those of you who listen to my programs on a regular basis, something that is constant in what I say is that our daily habits produce our problems, and so it's our daily habits that we need to adjust, improve, change, stop, do something different that will solve our problems. So here it is that it says eating. What the heck? I don't know why this thing is in the way. I don't even see what it closes out. But anyway, the article, if you can see down there at the bottom, it says, going the wrong way. Eating a lot of junk food permanently harms your sperm count. Now, here it is that we are in 2019, and the type of people that have never had any infertility problems are all of a sudden starting to have fertility problems. And so down here it talks about healthy men typically have at least 39 million sperm per ejaculation, according to the World Health Organization, and that's a very low estimate. Most of the time they're in the hundreds of millions and billions. So this is an evaluation of people that are not well, that are not at optimal health. But anyway, regardless of that, the article just speaks to the fact that what we are doing every day is causing our problems. So as I have said in previous programs, infertility is not always a female thing. A lot of times infertility is the male thing, but of course, because we live in a male-oriented society, a sexist society, a lot of what happens in medicine is based on that. It's based on what a man thinks. My actual experience yesterday, not my experience, let me take that up back. My wife went to have a mammogram yesterday. And when I called her after she was done, I was discussing with her, how did it go and such. And so in the midst of our conversation, we just agreed, the mammogram had to be something some man came up with. Dealing with a woman's breast cancer and removing a woman's breast as a treatment plan had to be something that a man thought about. These aren't ideas that a caring man would come to, and these aren't ideas that I believe a woman would think of. Taking off your breast? I mean, come on now. I mean, so because men are infertile or because men develop testicular cancer, we're going to start cutting off testicles? I mean, that wouldn't sound right to us as men. And so, there's always a way that you can find a lot of sexism in medicine. My personal experience is I found a lot of racism in medicine. So being a black man long before I became a doctor, it's relevant. It's a real reality. And so, I don't want people to think that I'm trying to cause problems and separate people. And no, I'm a victim of that reality. But it's a reality in this world, so I have to discuss it because it's a part of mental health, and it's a part of our mental health as the darker people on this planet Earth that have dealt with a lot of racism. We have to stop acting like it's not real. We have to talk about it. We have to put it out on the front because that's how we're going to gain our mental health through this madness. Etosha Hinton, thank you for coming in. So, again, there's an article I was trying to find. There was an article in here that was talking about walking. 30 minutes a day would be one of the best exercises that you can do. And I just wanted to use that as a reminder. There are a lot of people that all of us interact with every day, and they're overweight. They want to lose weight. And that probably is the biggest market of trickery that I find on social media is stuff about weight loss, right? And then you have all of these people that are probably in their 20s and they, have oriented their life in whatever way they want to, where they are working out on a regular basis, so their bodies look good. So they come on social media and they're posing all these pictures, half butt naked, looking good. I mean, we have to be honest, they do look good. But at the end of the day, when you start talking to people about losing weight, I don't give a damn what you're talking about. The most important thing about a person losing weight is what they eat and their activity level, not the type of workout that you do. You don't need a trainer to lose weight. You don't have to run to lose weight. You don't have to have any major exercise to lose weight. And you damn sure don't need to follow any athletes or these entertainers or these actresses and actors. You don't have to follow any of that to lose weight. Something that you can do very, very easily, and you can do it without spending any money, is to walk. Sean Paul Muhammad, thank you for coming in. Javon, thank you for coming in. William, thank you for coming in. So again, this is MSN Health, and you all can go on there. You can read these things. I always come on here to try to help us manage through some of this stuff, because some of this stuff that they put on in the mainstream media is madness. And you'll read one article that disagrees with another article, and then that article disagrees with something else, and you get confused. And that's why I'm doing this, because I can help with my experience, help us make more sense of what's going on. How walking 30 minutes a day can boost weight loss, improve digestion, and help you live longer. Just walking. I mean, think about it. I want you all to just take this. Oh, okay, wow. William Muhammad is on. He said, I lost 35 pounds on how to eat to live. That's what I'm talking about. So, William, I'm glad you said that. And everybody that's listening that's on here right now, William is going to be on here soon to talk about what he did, because we want to dispel the myths. We want to put some realistic things around what it is that we need to do, what it is that we are doing, and whether it fits in a program. Because see, this to me is what Dr. Akili is all about. Walking 30 minutes a day can boost weight loss, but if I boost weight loss and I die in 5 years, that's a waste of damn time. If I exercise for 30 minutes and I improve my digestion, good, but if I still die of a heart attack, it's a waste of time. But if I can walk 30 minutes a day and boost my weight loss, improve my digestion, and live longer, now you're putting things in the proper perspective. Javon says, I am in Lake Charles and running at FQHC. Oh, that's beautiful. Javon working on staying in shape. That's what I'm talking about. And of course, this is not to knock anybody that does more extreme type exercises, because I do. I've had people tell me that when they see me working out, they're like, man, what are you doing? Actually, a good friend of mine, he saw me working out a couple of years ago in the park. It's my regular exercise routine. He said, damn, man, what you about to do? You try to try it out for the Olympics? No, it's just a certain exercise routine that I want to keep. I want to stay in shape. I want to keep my body in a certain type of way. Tina Crawley, thank you for coming in. And of course, everybody knows that how to eat to live is my thing. So I'm trying to practice how to eat to live and try to prove the benefits of it, not only short term, but long term. So it's very important to help you live longer. If what you're doing is going to help you live longer, then it is good, because you don't want to do a good exercise now and say, okay, this good exercise is going to keep me alive for 10 years and then I'm going to fall off the cliff and die in 10 years. No. What we are doing today, we should be able to maintain our health, improve any problem that we have, so that we can continue this type of activity forever. I mean, why not? Why shouldn't we be jogging on grass or dirt when we're 150? Why can't we be riding a bicycle at 175? Why can't I still be cutting my grass at 145? See, these are things that we don't even think about, but what if we start thinking like that and then start following those thoughts with the actions that will give us that type of life? Makes sense? I hope it does. So I always tell people that you don't need a trainer. You don't need some extreme exercise. You don't need to go buy a tape. You don't need to do all these kind of things. Tariq Muhammad, thank you for coming in. Appreciate you, bro. We have to do the things that make sense. Every single one of us have gone to a Lowe's, a Home Depot, a Target, a Walmart, a grocery store, and you watch people park their car in the driveway waiting for somebody to back out of a parking spot so I can park as close to the door as I want to. All of us that are trying to improve our health, we should stop doing that. Start parking as far away as you can, and now you've activated your life. You're not doing anything serious, just walking. And then, of course, today we're going to be talking about dehydration, heat exhaustion, heat stroke. So we're going to talk about how you can stop worrying about this heat. Nobody wants to be out in heat for long periods of time that can damage yourself. Of course not. But you should want some heat, because the sun is so good for you. You got to be out there even when it's hot. You got to get some sunshine. So again, that's what you can do. You walk on the second floor. You go to work early enough in the morning where it's still cool in the staircase. Climb the stairs. Don't take the elevator. It makes sense. So there's just a lot of things that we can just take our time, evaluate our life, and improve our health. Now, as far as this 30 minutes a day working thing, I want to challenge everybody that's here, everybody that listens to this program, all of you fat or overweight people. Please don't get offended by me saying that. That's the truth. If you're fat or you're overweight, you're obese, you need to do an evaluation of your weight. over 2 weeks or a month. Just try something very similar of what I'm talking about. You can arrange it in your way, but come to a place where your dietary intake every day is consistent. And the only thing that you change once you get your diet consistent, and I mean, like, you know, if you snack in the middle of the day, or you eat 3 meals a day, you eat 1 meal, whatever it is you do, just keep it consistent. And then start walking for 30 minutes a day and don't change anything else. Keep the diet consistent, walk 30 a day, and watch how that will change your body. Watch how that will change what's going on, your mental state, the way you feel. And we're going to add to that this next article, which is what? Wilderness. What is wilderness therapy and how can it help you? Well, here it is that, you know, some people try to make money on every damn thing, and that's what bothers me. All they're talking about is taking people that have so-called mental illnesses. We're talking about depression and anxiety and ADHD, all these type of things, which we'll have to do a show on one day. But they're talking about taking people out in the mountains and taking them out in nature scenes and things like this and how they're helping it. Why would we need to try to charge people for that? You know, that's why when you guys come to the Ultimate Wellness Group, you can get so much information for free. And all this is just a fancy way and a way that they're trying to make money is to tell you to go back and start experiencing God. God made trees. God made mountains. God made dirt. God made grass. God made flowers. God made the sky, the air, the clouds. All of these things that when you go out and you interact with that, it brings you some benefit. It causes you to feel better. Going outside and breathing the oxygen that's coming straight from the plant rather than you driving around all the time with your windows up and the air on. And what kills me is I know some people just don't like the heat, so they don't use their air conditioner. I mean, they do use the air conditioner when it's hot like it is in a lot of parts of the country now. But what about in the cooler times of the year? It's 70 degrees outside. You get in some people's car, they got the air conditioner on 72. Your air conditioning is higher than the degree outside. Why not just roll down the windows? Breathe in some of that beautiful oxygen that's coming out of those plants. Just something for you all to consider as we continue to work on improving our health. Sean Paul says, since you're talking about health, in addition to exercise and improving eating habits, can anything be done to improve or reverse fatty liver disease? Absolutely. I have somebody that I'm working with right now who has fatty liver disease. I've had plenty of patients in the past. Fatty liver disease, actually, if a person is willing to make some changes, is one of the easier things to improve. So yes, Kiana Dubose, thank you for coming in. William, improve the quality of life. Actually, Zambezi, thank you for coming in. William Muhammad says, can you talk about how to keep from being dehydrated? Absolutely, sir. That's what the show is about today. Just doing kind of the introductory part, and we're going to get to that. Eric Evans said, I had to be admitted to a rehab facility after obstructive sleep apnea damaged my heart, which caused weight gain. While there, I ate more food and did very minimal exercise and lost 58 pounds in 1 month. Nutrition was what helped me. Eating more sped up my fat burning. I don't know if I agree with that. Unless you were eating more of the right foods and stopped the bad foods, then I could. But typically when people talk about eating more to speed up metabolism, that's not scientific. Your activity is what increases the activity. The eating is just to feed the body's needs. So I'll get into that in a little bit, Brother Evans, if I didn't clear it up. William Muhammad says, I was in shape roundabout after listening to Dr. Keeley. I slimmed down. Well, thank you, bro. Can colon cancer be reversed? Absolutely. Etosha Hinton, I appreciate you coming. I appreciate that question, but that's not the subject for today. But if I have a little time, I'll get that towards the end, okay? So I just wanted to kind of get back to this point about the wilderness therapy and how can it help you. I know it's hot, and I know it is the type of weather that makes most people want to find their way to get cooler, start taking off clothes, and people walk around with their skin showing. In the hottest areas of the world, which is over in areas of the motherland, the hottest places in the world, people do not take their clothes off. People put clothes on. They cover up. Lighter colors kind of, not remit, but they try to push I'm forgetting the word I'm trying to get, but they push the heat away. Darker colors absorb the heat. So yes, you don't want to necessarily wear dark colors, But what you do want to do is make sure that you are staying hydrated. And so today, that exercising 30 minutes and that being out in nature are two things that I think are good for your health. And so I thought it was very important for us to have a discussion about dehydration, heat exhaustion, and heat stroke. So let's go ahead and get into it. First things first, I would like for us to look and think about the word dehydration. And I know this may be kind of small. See if I can get it bigger. But a lot of us know, if I put it a little closer, maybe it'll be. So a lot of us have these ideas, right? That thirst and a dry mouth are good indicators of thirst, of being dehydrated. And I would say that's not absolutely a healthy way to look at it. If you see up here, this says signs of mild to moderate dehydration. This over here is signs of severe dehydration. Well, unfortunately, when the body gets to a place where it is thirsty or your mouth is dry, that's a problem that's been going on for a while. That didn't just start. So I want to first just go a little back to some basic understanding. Here is what a cell looks like in the human body. A lot of times we see pictures, but I believe this is probably one of the most accurate pictures, kind of a 3D picture. Kalila, thank you for coming in. So all of these areas in here, like this is the nucleus, right? This is where all your DNA material is. These are all the different organelles in a cell, just like there are a lot of organs in the human body. But all of this stuff in here, all of this clear looking stuff, that's water. So think about it. This right here is a singular cell you cannot see with your eye. But look at my finger. You guys are looking at my finger. How many millions or billions of cells does it take to make my finger? So if you can say that this finger is millions or billions of these, then that means this finger is mostly water, because this is mostly water. Does that make sense? And so then if we take this cell and then we turn that to the aspects of the body, the bones, the muscular system, the nervous system, all these things are mostly water. Now, if we were to look at the nervous system, the brain is 80% water. Muscles are like 78% water. The respiratory system is high 70% water. The skin, the integumentary system, that's like almost 80% water. So when we're talking about some very important aspects of the body, some are a little less water, some are a little higher aspects of water, but the point is that it takes a lot of water to keep you healthy. Elisha, Muhammad, thank you for coming in. Kalila, thank you for coming in. So when we're looking at information like this, we're talking about optimal functioning. Optimal functioning can only happen not when you wait until the body is such a need for water, but putting it in there on a regular basis, like a river, like the ocean. Constant water, okay? Fatigue. Yeah, fatigue can be something in both. And understand that a lot of these things that are mentioned on one side or the other, there are some lines that are blurred, because some of these things can happen on both sides. Alan Bowden, thank you for coming in. So you got to understand that fatigue can happen for a lot of reasons. So yeah, it can happen to dehydration. Headaches can happen. Lawrence, thank you for coming in. And then infrequent urination. And now that's something that's big. If you are moving around and you're going outside and back inside and outside and back inside, and you go 7, 8, 9, 10 hours and you haven't urinated, you definitely haven't had enough water. Now here's another one. It says dry skin. I'm sorry. Anytime your skin starts to be affected by your lack of water, you're over here in severe. That's been going on for a long time. Dizziness and lightheadedness, of course, and constipation, that's something that happens when it's more long-term. Bad breath, same thing. Muscle cramps, that can happen on a short term. That can happen when it's mild. Cravings for sweets. I don't know what the heck that has to do with dehydration, but I've never considered that nor thought that that had anything to do with altered mood. That usually is when it's a little more severe. So let's look what they say over here in more severe. Rapid breathing, yes. Now, when you get to rapid breathing, your body is literally saying, I'm in trouble. That's dehydration to a point where your blood is so toxic. And usually when you're dehydrated, your blood is going to be acidotic, meaning it's acidic, right? As I said in the last show, we do not want to live in alkaline. We want to live in neutral. So when your blood starts to, when your body is in such a bad state where your body starts to go in the direction of acidity, you start breathing rapidly to what? Bring a lot of carbon dioxide in. I'm sorry, a lot of oxygen in, try to get that carbon dioxide out, which is an acidic thing, to try to bring your body back towards the alkaline side, not to be alkalotic, not to be alkalinic, but to get back into that neutral phase. So that's a very dangerous thing. Your heartbeat starts going fast because of lack of water in your bloodstream. That's a these are very dangerous things when these start happening. And just give me just a few minutes. I'm gonna get into what separates exhaustion from heat stroke, and a lot of this will start to make more sense. Now, this is where I agree. If you're in severe dehydration and long-term dehydration, that's when you can stop urinating. That's when your skin can start to look bad and start to draw up. Extreme thirst. Yeah, a person just wants to drink. Yeah, that is signs of extreme thirst. Low blood pressure. Most of us are not going to have any situation in an everyday life, where we're going to be able to check our own blood pressure. So that, of course, will be something that usually happens when you go in to get seen for something. And then you see that last one down there, not sweating even when you should be, like when you're out doing activities in hot weather and you believe you should be sweating, but you're not. That's a dangerous thing. Let me check out. Eric Evans says, that is true. Couldn't believe that when we were at PV, we ended up putting on more clothes as our bodies got acclimated to the hotter climate to stay cool. Staying hydrated was very important. Absolutely. Tammy Windegate, thank you for coming in. So let me get to try to finish up. I don't think it's going to be a long show today, so I'll have some time to spend just, interacting with you all and answering questions. So know the symptoms. It is important to know the difference between being dehydrated and then when you go from being dehydrated and you're going into the more dangerous symptoms, more dangerous area, okay? So here it says you become faint or dizzy, excessive sweating. Now, when you have the ability to assess whether you are excessively sweating, that means you have to be paying attention to when you're doing your normal activities and you just sweat normal, right? So see how you have to pay attention to yourself. Cool and clammy. Usually when you are in the heat and you're sweating, your skin is hot. When you're sweating because the water that's coming out of your body is supposed to cool the skin, right? But when your skin is cool and clammy, meaning you touch it and it kind of feels kind of like a little pasty something, like when you go into the kitchen, you put your hand on something, it kind of feels kind of wet and kind of sticky. That's what that means. Nausea or vomiting, that's a very dangerous sign when that starts to happen. Muscle cramps can happen in all different aspects. You can be mildly dehydrated, get muscle cramps. But what this means is that as things get severe, you can start having muscle cramps. And sometimes when people get into heat exhaustion, you can have a muscle cramp that won't go away. And down at the bottom, you see there it says, get to a cooler, air-conditioned place. Drink water if fully conscious. Take a cool shower. Use cold compresses and rest. Now, let me be clear. I think it's a bad idea for anybody to start trying to do something like putting cold compresses and ice on a person who maybe you think is going into a danger zone when it comes to the heat. You do not want to cool the body down too fast. That can be just as dangerous as being too hot. A cool shower, putting them in a cool environment, letting them take some water, and most importantly, all of you that are listening, we all in this type of environment, when it's very hot, you should walk around with salt with you. Celtic sea salt. I talked about that in the milk program. Please go listen to that aspect. Salt does not cause high blood pressure. Bleached salt causes high blood pressure. If you have the little thing of salt in your house where there's a little girl with the umbrella, that's sodium, chloride, and iodine. 3 nutrients from the periodic table, which I'm going to go ahead and pull up so we can look at it real quick. When you look at a periodic table, you're looking at all of the substances on the earth. Okay? There are 118 different elements on a periodic table. We need all of them in this human body. You definitely don't need more gold than you need potassium. You definitely don't need more plutonium than you need calcium. but we do need all of the things on a periodic table. So once this periodic table comes up, we're going to look at it. And I want you all to understand that when you go get Celtic sea salt, or some people talk about Himalayan pink salt, that's good as well. As long as when you look in the ingredients and you don't see any other ingredients other than sea salt, that's when you know you're on the right track. Now, what you should do is carry that with you. And if you ever have a family member or any person that has gotten themselves in trouble from a perspective of dehydration, put some salt in their mouth, or put some salt in what they're drinking and drink. Not Gatorade, that is garbage. Powerade, all these vitamin drinks and all that kind of stuff. Please don't fall into the marketing tricks that is any good for you. And I also want us to be able to decipher through the madness that you can eat your water. Not true. You eat hydration. When you put salt in your water, it's not water anymore. It's salt water. There's a big difference in how that works inside the body versus salt water. When you put fruit in water, and people call that infused water, that's not water anymore. That's infused water. There's something in that water. That is the definition of hydration. I'm not saying it's bad. You shouldn't do that all the time, but that is a way to hydrate as well. But when you are hydrating with sea salt, it will not cause blood pressure problems. It causes a balance of the body, and it brings you back into a state of peace. So here we go, the periodic table. Look a little closely. Copper. You see that right there? Cu, copper, zinc. We need a lot of we need a lot of that in the body. We don't need a lot of boron, but we need a lot of carbon. We need a lot of nitrogen. It's a lot of what we breathe in when we breathe. Oxygen is usually with nitrogen. We got hydrogen when we breathe. We need a lot of chlorine. We need a lot of magnesium and sodium. Don't let these people believe that sodium is bad for you. Everything on this table is good for you. But when it comes in the way that nature makes it, which is in sea salt, it balances the body. When you do it the way the enemies do, where they put sodium, just sodium, and then they add it with chloride, and then they add iodine. Iodine, chloride, and sodium. If you put those three things in with that bleach salt, that's going to cause your body a problem. That will cause blood pressure problems. But when you do Celtic salt, you're getting about 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, sometimes up to 90 different, and I shouldn't have started at 30, because my understanding is that Himalayan pink salt and the Celtic salts usually start at about 50 to 60 different elements. So you're talking about 50 to 60 of the different elements on here going into your body when you put some sea salt in your water, or put some sea salt in the palm of your hand. That's the way I do it nowadays. I'll take my sea salt bag and I'll dump a little in my hand, throw that in my mouth, lick my hand, get it all off of my hand, and then turn up a bottle or two. And I got a testimony in a little while. You got to see that red mark in my eye. See that big old red mark in my eye? I'm going to tell you about what happened, because I want to be very straight up with you all. All of us can make mistakes. Etosha Hinton says she just learned something. Praise God. That's what I'm here for. Eric Evans said, yes, sir. I'm not sure what you said yes, sir, to, bro, but I appreciate it. Tammy Wingate said, is pink Himalayan salt good? Yes, as long as the ingredients say sea salt, and that's it. No other additives or no other preservatives or anything like that. Pink Himalayan sea salt is pretty good. And again, I've gone over this in some of my previous programs, but the color of salt is only indicative of the color of the soil in that particular area where they get that from. So most of the time, pink salt comes from like the Hawaiian Islands, where they have a lot of pink beaches and things of that nature. If you go to the Fiji Islands, you'll have black salt because the soil is black. And in places where the Celtic sea salt, I think that's in Ireland, and so their salt is more of a grayish color. That is always good to use sea salt, because again, like that periodic table, you're putting a lot of things in your body that your body needs to exist on a regular basis. And the way most American diets are, especially overweight people, they are lacking. They are malnutritious, meaning that they're lacking a lot of those elements that are on that table. Eric Evans says, I recommend listening to Dead Doctors Don't Lie. That talks about everything you presented here in this program. Oh, I appreciate that, man. But instead of people listening to Dead Doctors Don't Lie, just go to the Ultimate Wellness Group on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, and check me out. Ask me questions if there's anything else that you want me to, if there's anything else you want me to cover. What you think about that one, Eric? Let me know. So again, I would suggest that you have some salt with you, no matter where you are. Why? Because you'll potentially help get somebody out of a danger zone, right? So again, let's go back to this table. You know, don't try to cool people off too fast. You want to bring their body down slowly. So usually they say, Santrisa, thank you for coming in. Usually they say that the differentiation between heat and heat stroke starts at a particular temperature. Sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. There are lines that blur between these two. Some people die in heat exhaustion. Most people die in heat stroke if they continue to progress. When you hear of these athletes being out in the hot sun and these football practices and things like that, they had heat stroke. The body will start to shut down in heat stroke. So here it is. It says over here in heat stroke. So all of these things, these symptoms are supposed to be worsening over on this side, right? So here it is. You have a throbbing headache. Yeah, a headache can be indicative of dehydration. Now, that's a very, very bad sign. If you're a person that sweats, or you have a family member that typically sweats, and they're talking about how hot they are and they stop sweating, you need to get that person somewhere very quick, more than likely an emergency room. Red hot dry skin. Now if you really a dark black skin person, you ain't gonna see no red hot dry skin, so that one might be something that we can use in more light skinned people. Again, nausea and vomiting, that can be in both, and that's very dangerous. Rapid strong pulse, meaning that the body is now trying to really catch up to all the areas of the body that's asking for more nutrients, asking for more water, asking for more blood, and it just doesn't have it. And that's what causes this next one. If you don't have enough blood to pump to the brain, then that person may start to lose their consciousness, right? And what does that say down there? Call 911. If you get a person and you're really starting to be concerned about their well-being, it would be better to be able to call some people that know how to try to save this person's life than to be messing around, okay? It says take immediate action to cool the person until help arrives. Ice bath, cold towels. Wrong answer. Never do ice baths. That is the worst thing you can do. You take a person that's at that high a temperature. When people are up here, sometimes they can be 108, 109, 110. If you all are old enough to remember a guy named, I think his first name was Corey. I don't remember. His last name was Stringer, though. He played for the Minnesota Vikings. He went into heat stroke. When he got to the hospital, his temperature was 118. If you take a person that has a temperature of 118 and you put them in an ice bath, you will cause that person to die faster, because coldness restricts blood vessels. Heat opens up. If you have a blood vessel, if your brain is in trouble and your brain is trying to get more blood flow, the blood vessels want to do what? Open up. What causes blood vessels to open up in the human body? Heat. If you, like when all of us have had an experience where you may be playing sports, you had a family member play sports, or you watch sports. Somebody injures themselves. What do? They put ice on it. What does ice do? Close the blood vessels down. So if you take a person whose body is trying to get more blood flow to the liver, more blood flow to the kidney, more blood flow to the brain, you mean you're going to put them in ice to close down the blood vessels? Not good information. Cool water, yes. So let's say like we were out in a public place, like we're in a park or something, and there's like a lake or a river or something. If that person is in danger, you could put them in the river, you could put them in the lake, and that's going to be pretty cool compared to the way that they feel. I know the water might be dirty. The person might not want to go in that water, but to save your life, you better get your behind in that water. But ice, no, you cannot do ice. You'll kill somebody. And that's why I do these programs, because some of this information on the internet is really bad information. Not good information at all. Tammy Wingate says, thanks for the valuable information. Absolutely, ma'am. Is alkaline water helpful or hurtful? Alkaline water is hurtful. I actually have covered that in some past programs. If I have enough time today, I'll mention a few things about that. Denise, thank you for coming in. If a person faints often, what is that indicative of? Oh, there could be so many different reasons. I'm specifically about heat. If it's a heat-oriented thing, the likelihood is that that person is dehydrated and going into some of these, what we just finished talking about, where their consciousness is starting to come into play because they're not getting enough blood to the brain. Yassine, thank you for giving me the greetings and giving back to him for me, please. Kevin Clay says, I'm a phlebotomist at a plasma center. People always ask me what's the best way to hydrate after donating plasma. Um, Everything that we're saying, I mean, I think would be good. You know, the more important thing, I think, when people come and get their blood taken, the more important thing for people that give blood is to know the type of foods that you need to eat in order to build your blood. And so, of course, that's always going to be foods that have iron. That's going to be foods that give you a lot of amino acids. And then, like we're talking about hydration here, which I'm going to finish talking about after I get to, as Santrice said, I like to hear alkaline water info as well. Okay. Well, again, I'm going to try to get to it today. If I don't, check out, I don't remember. It's on some of the other programs, but let me just try to get finished and I'll do that. So, again, you know, in a climate like Houston, it's pretty hot. It's pretty hot in a lot of areas around. I mean, it's always hot in places like Arizona and Southern California and New Mexico and Nevada. You know, those type of states, very, very hot. So it's important for people to know these type of things. This is just another example of some information. So it's pretty much the same. But I wanted to show this because, see down here it says, hydrate with water or sports drink. Bad idea. Sports drinks are garbage. They will not hydrate you. It's poison. Move to a cooler, air-conditioned place. Yes. Lie down. Yes. To get the water, like when we sit up, right? If we sit or we stand, water is going to go with gravity. So water is going to go towards the lower part of the body. If you're in a dehydrated state, if you're in heat exhaustion or going into heat stroke, you want to lay the person down. Why? So that that water will start coming out. You're laying the person down, and now the water is going to come from the legs up into the body, into the part of the body that needs it the most. I mean, the body will cut off blood flow to the toes and the legs, not to make it die, but it just doesn't need as much. That heart needs more, that liver needs more, that brain needs more. So yes, have the person lie down. Very important. And I'm showing this because, you know, when you go through some of this stuff, when you're looking for information, it's very important to know that some of these things give good information and some of it is bad. I wanted to mention this because this is very good. If the person is fully conscious, sip water. Why is that important? Because what we just finished talking about, a lot of times people, when they start getting in trouble, they have nausea and vomiting. If they drink water too fast, they're just going to throw it right back up. So you want to sip, and they should be consistently sipping. Sip some, couple of minutes. Sip some more, couple of minutes. Sip some more. And that sometimes will keep them out of trouble, right? It says, if vomiting continues, seek medical intervention. Of course, person can't keep it down. You got to get them to a place where they can get the help that they need, okay? We don't want to play with heat-oriented things because, as some of you know who have had children, we as doctors always tell our mothers that if a child has a temperature at or above 104, that's when you should call the office or go to the emergency room. Why? Because a 104 temperature in a baby can cause what we call febrile seizures. The temperature is so high, it starts to damage the brain. Child's brain goes erratic, and you get seizures. In a human, sometimes you can get seizures, but most of the time you won't. They're going to faint, they're going to pass out, they're going to get dizzy. That's a sign that the brain is starting to suffer because there's not enough water in it, okay? Tammy Wingate says, I'm the Navy bean queen. Thanks. Okay. Khalid, thank you for coming in. He says, I bear witness in this manner. You taught us on the light gray Celtic sea salt, allowing the water in the body to absorb into the muscles and areas needed, and to test this when we, I'm sorry, wait, what is that? You taught us, allowing the water in the body to absorb into the muscles and areas needed, and to test this when the body goes into muscle spasm mode. I tried this during a muscle spasm, and within seconds my spasm was alleviated. I simply took a drink of water, 16 ounce, infused with a pinch of light gray Celtic sea salt. It took this subject matter from the theory to actual fact for myself and my wife as my witness. Man, thank you, bro. I appreciate that testimony. Now, I want to point out something. I said this in the program, and Khalid went and proved it. He said seconds. This body is so beautiful. It works such in a magnificent way. I have had experiences like him. I will get a cramp. Now, it doesn't happen that much because I try to take my seat off as much as possible. But again, like I said, the reason why I got that redness in my eye is because I make mistakes too. Seconds. I'm talking about 3-4 seconds. Gone. Doesn't come back. Okay, that's how fast the body can work when you put the right things in it. Now, let me tell my quick testimony. Over the last probably 2 to 3 years, I, of course, try to stay hydrated because I try to practice everything that I come in here and I talk to you all about. But of course, I get sidetracked. Last week, I'm actually on a fast right now. I'm on a 14-day fast. I won't be eating until next Sunday. So last week, I was actually thinking about getting in my body the type of nutrients that will help grow my hair. So I was processing and doing research, you know, just reminding myself of the research I've done in the past, trying to make sure I was eating the right type of foods to get the right nutrition in my body. And I got busy, just wasn't paying enough attention, and I wasn't hydrating enough. I was doing some things outside. I exercise outside when it's hot. And I honestly got distracted with a lot of things, didn't hydrate myself enough. And I woke up Monday morning, this last Monday morning, went to use the bathroom, and after I finished, I couldn't even stand up. I had to hold on to the wall. My wife had to help me back to the bed. I laid down. The whole day, I couldn't even stand up. I couldn't even get up. She had to go and, handle some things, and I had to go to the bathroom. I literally had to crawl on my knees to the bathroom and then come back to the bed because I was trying to hydrate, but sometimes when your body gets in trouble, it takes time to get back oriented right. Now, I crawled back to the bed, and when I lifted up to get back in the bed, I started getting so dizzy. I couldn't stand up straight. I couldn't open my eyes. Started throwing up, and that's what caused that blood spot in my eyes. As I was throwing up, caused a blood vessel to burst. So I'm being transparent because I want you all to know that taking care of your health is an everyday thing. We have to continuously be paying attention. Now, you all can tell that listening to me, I'm a person that pays attention, but we all can get busy. We all can sometimes get distracted, and that's why you hear me say all the time, if your mind is not on your health is not on your mind. I want to warn you all, don't allow yourself to get in trouble. I allowed myself to get in trouble. And even as a physician, with all the experience that I have, I still was concerned. I was like, damn, is this going to get worse? Damn, are my kidneys in trouble? Do I need to go to the hospital? Of course, all my answers are going to be no, because I'm just stubborn like that. I don't want to go to no hospital. I want to try to take care of myself. Thank God I did come through it. Got evidence of of my trial and my tribulation. But I'm using this just as a reminder, you all, during these hot times of the summer, make sure you hydrate before you go doing whatever you're doing outside. Take what you need to keep hydrated while you're doing something in the heat. And most importantly, once you finish being outside in the heat for long periods of time, hydrate when you get back into your house. Very important. Very important. It's more important than the food you're eating. It's more important than dinner. Just like those who are Muslims, during the time of Ramadan, I always tell people, it's more important for you to hydrate after not drinking for 14 hours than it is to eat. But most of us are so tied into eating that we want to rush to the food, and we don't even realize that the GI system, the stomach, the intestines, the mouth, the esophagus, the saliva glands, none of that can work correctly when you're dehydrated. Okay? So let me know if I covered those subjects pretty well. And I want to help the alkaline water question. So let's get into the alkaline trip. Let's get into this alkaline subject. I got to pull up a pH scale so that you all can understand what I'm saying in depth. Okay? So let me know, you all, if I answered any of your questions, if there are any other questions. And Khaled, I really appreciate that testimony, brother. Okay, so let's go to this pH scale as soon as it comes up. And let me just start off by saying that most of the time when you are being told to do alkaline water, people are telling you to drink alkaline water in the 9, 10, 11. And people who are trying to sell you alkaline machines, alkaline water machines, they say that the higher the alkalinity, the better. Well, let's go ahead and disprove that myth. If you all can see the little hand there, this is where we live, at 7. We live at 7.4 to 7.5. For the discussion of this, we're going to keep it at 7 to make things easy. Pure water, milk, human saliva, blood. Human saliva should not be on this because human saliva changes depending on the blood. If the body is trying to keep itself acidic, in the neutral phase, right? This right here, this 7 is neutral. This is not alkaline, this is not acidic, it's neutral. You go in this direction, you're doing acidic. If you go in this direction, you're becoming alkalinic. We don't want to live where seawater is, or sodium hydroxide, bleach, ammonia, borax. No, we want to live where the blood is the best. And we don't want to live over here in stomach acid or battery acid or tomatoes or orange juice. No, we want to live right here at 7. The body stays here. The body doesn't become alkalinic and then come back to 7. The body doesn't go acidic and then come back to 7. The body stays right here. And there are processes that occur in your stomach, in your pancreas, in your lungs, in your kidneys, every day to keep the body right here at 7. So, when we eat food, we have to make hydrochloric acid. My understanding is hydrochloric acid as 1, not 0, but 1. Doesn't make a difference for the sake of discussion. Let's say that hydrochloric acid is at 1. If I eat some navy beans, I eat some bread, I eat some broccoli, some cauliflower, I have to make enough hydrochloric acid for enough period of time to break that down. So what is my body doing to balance the acidic nature of what's in my stomach? I make a substance out of the pancreas, which is called bicarbonate, which is over here in the antacid section and the milk and magnesia section. In the body, it's studied that it can be anywhere, because it's a variance, the body does what it needs, it can be anywhere from 10 to 13, depending on how much acid. So if my stomach is making acid to break down food, my pancreas is making bicarbonate to do what? To bring the acidic nature of what I'm digesting my food with back towards where I live, which is what's at 7. So once I finish digesting my food, the stomach empties it into the intestines, and immediately the bicarbonate comes out of the pancreas to balance that 1 and bring it back in this direction, right? So if I'm breaking down my food and my stomach is really acidic, when I put it into the intestines, I mix it with something over here and it brings it back towards 7. So if you eat bad food like meat and processed food and ramen noodles and chips and burgers and Taco Bell and all that kind of madness, your body is making a lot of acid. The bad stuff in the food is acidic. And so your body has to make stuff to balance that acid to keep you at 7. It's an every day, every minute, every second, all year, all month process of your body staying right at 7. We do not want to be alkaline. We do not want to live in alkalinity. We do not want to take our body in an alkalinic state. We want to stay neutral. Now, why did I say all of that? I was just trying to explain the basics of pH and how the body takes care of it. When you're drinking water that's at 10, 11, or 12, you're putting something in the body now that's 10 or 11 or 12. What does the body have to do to bring it back to 7? It has to hold on to acid. That's the way the body balances itself when it comes to pH. If I put something too acidic in the body, I find a way to make or hold on to alkalinic things. If I put something in the body that's too alkalinic, I have to make or hold on to acidic things. Most of the acidic things in the human body is waste. So when I drink water that's way up here by 10, 11, and 12, my body has to hold on to waste or make acid to bring me back to what? Back to neutral. I'm not living at alkaline, I'm living at neutral. So the honest truth about alkaline water is it's a trick, it's a money trick, there's no truth to it. When you drink alkaline water, you become more acidic. Not that your body goes into acidity, but the body has to hold on to acidity to bring that alkaline water back to where we live. Okay? Now look at the beauty of what I'm talking about in alliance with God. When you add salt to your water, you're drinking seawater. That's at 8. Very easy to bring back normal. Not 10, 11, and 12. Seawater, spring water is in the sevens, usually in the eights. When God does things, he makes things very easy for the body. When humans do things, they do things that don't make any sense. So I hope I answered this questions for anybody about alkaline water. If not, please let me know. Walter Richardson, so a daily dose of sea salt is good. Depending on the climate, like during, while I was practicing Ramadan this year, I did it every day. Had no problems, no blood pressure problems, no swelling, nothing wrong. It depends on what I'm doing. Like for instance, today it was I think 102 degrees. Yesterday it was 101 in Houston. If I'm going to go out and I know that I'm going to be doing something outside for long periods of time, yes, I will take some sea salt that morning. If I wind up going outside and I didn't plan on being outside, but I wind up doing something for a long time in the sun, when I get home, I'm going to do some sea salt. If I have a day where I'm planning to go out and do a lot of activities, where I'm going to be in and out, in and out, in and out, I'm going to hydrate that day. If it's a day where, like yesterday, I hydrated, I took some sea salt, but tomorrow I'm going to be in the house, hanging out with the family, chilling, in air conditioning, I probably won't hydrate with sea salt that day. I'll just drink water. Let me know if I answered your question, Walter, because that's actually a very good question. I don't think it would be bad to do sea salt every day, but it's just not necessary when you don't need it. Lawrence says, should we do sea salt water once a day, twice a day? Should we do it every day, a few times per week? And would it be beneficial to just do it every day? Lawrence, let me know if I just answered that question. I believe I did, and but I didn't deal with the once, twice a day. That's actually a very good question, because some days I do it twice a day. Like I said, I think it was about 7, 8 years ago when Houston, Texas and the surrounding areas had record temperatures. And when I say record temperatures, I'm talking about temperatures that they had never measured in Texas before. I remember one day it was 117. On that day, I had planned to be at this little function. We had a farm day where we had all the children down at the farm. We showed them the beekeeping. We had to milk, the cows and showing them how we milk the cows. Just a lot of different things about farm life and how we can generate health, wealth, and all those different type of things from the farm. On that day, I took some sea salt water before I left the house that morning, and then I had some sea salt water at the end of the day. Drank water all through the day. I had some sea salt and water at the end of that day. Why? Because I know that the amount of time that I spent outside in that sun was a lot. I did a lot of sweating. My clothes were drenched. I lost a lot of water. Now, some of you know what I'm talking about. You have a dark shirt on, a blue shirt, black shirt, whatever the case may be. You spend some time out in the sun like that, you sweat a lot. When you let that shirt dry, or you hang that shirt up to dry, you just take that shirt off and throw it and it dries up, you see all the white streaks. Most people say, man, I lost a lot of salt. Yeah, that is salt, but that's other stuff too. You lost a lot of nutrients. A lot of those things that we looked at on that periodic table is in your shirt. And so when you go out and you lose all of that stuff, that is the purpose of hydration. You have to put things back in the body. So food is important, but straight to the point of hydration with sea salt on a day that you know you've been outside, you've lost a lot of fluid, you know you've sweated a lot, you know your body has been very hot, it is probably a good idea to do it twice on that type of day. So Lawrence, let me know if I answered the question. Shirley X, thanks for coming in. Tammy Wingate, you're welcome. Walter Richardson says, thanks. I assume that means I answered the question. So we're right about at the end of the time. I really appreciate you all coming in. Again, reminder, I need everybody to please go to my YouTube channel. I want to continue to do handheld devices and mobile units to do my YouTube channel like this, and have to have 1,000 subscribers in order to do that. So if you can, please do that for me and tell a couple of friends. Lawrence said, should we hydrate with sea salt water if we drink coffee every day? And yes, you answered my questions. Thank you, sir. Yes, my suggestion to people who drink coffee is that the aspect of caffeine on the kidneys is one that causes diuresis. Diuresis is just a word that means extra urination. So when you cause the body to urinate, every time you urinate, you lose some nutrients. And of course, water. So your normal processes every day of urinating is to rid the body of waste and to rid the body of excess. When you drink coffee, you're going to lose what you normally lose plus some because of that extra caffeinic effect on the kidneys. So I suggest that when people drink coffee, you literally usually have a window of about probably 1 to about 4 hours that caffeine will be in your system and working on your kidneys, your brain, such. Excuse me. So I suggest that once you drink your coffee, somewhere around 1 to 2 hours afterwards, do your sea salt and water, which will replace all of the nutrients that you lost. As Khalid just finished saying, he had a cramp. Sea salt water, seconds, done. So what you're losing by that caffeine effect, you're replacing very quickly when you do the sea salt. So that's my suggestion. 1 to 2 hours afterwards, do your sea salt and water, which will replace the nutrients that you lose with caffeine. If you just drink 1 cup a day, that's not bad. But for the people that drink coffee all day long, you will start to lose so many of your nutrients, you can develop a lot of problems. One of them being calcium problems, so your bones get weak and you can necessarily get osteoporosis, osteopenia, some of these other bone problems that a lot of older people start to get. Walter Richardson says, I work in extreme heat. Yeah, so let me know if I gave you some good information so that you can protect yourself in that, because you're the type of person, my brother, that has to take what I'm saying in consideration and know these different signs for you as well as for other people that you work with, because you can save a person's life because heat related incidents, that's a very common problem that bring people into the emergency room, and a lot of people just don't know that because it may not necessarily happen to you or your family members, but it's a very common emergency room problem. Etosha Hinton says, thank you. You're welcome, my sister. Troy, good teaching. Thank you, my brother. Abdullah Farah says, hi, how are you? Lawrence, thank you, my brother, for the good question and making sure I covered all my bases. So I think that's it for today, you all. Again, thank you for coming in. This is the Ultimate Wellness Group, where we give you news that you can use. Keep working hard. In a society like we live in, good health is only a result of hard work. Keep your mind on your health so your health will be on your mind and you don't wind up with a red eye like me. Okay? And so I hope today's program gives you a lot of beneficial information that you use in your hot environments and your overall health benefit. Whether you're on a healing journey, meaning there's something wrong and you're trying to heal, or whether you're on a health journey just to maintain your health, the Ultimate Wellness Group is the right place to come. Y'all let me know if there are any subject matters that you want me to cover. There are some that I have in my mind to do, and there are also some special guests that I'm trying to work together and figuring out how to do this on Facebook and YouTube. But I want to continue to make sure that you all are getting the type of information that empowers you to take control of your health. Khalid says, we appreciate you, brother. I appreciate you all as well. Linda Nzinga, appreciate you. She says, good teaching. So you all have a wonderful rest of your weekend. Stay hydrated, stay healthy, drink that water. Till next time, probably won't be next Saturday, but the Saturday after that, we'll be back with another episode of the Ultimate Wellness Group Transformation Tuesday. Y'all take care. Peace.